Shane Armin Rowe here. I promised to tell you what I found at the thrift store, a childhood toy. Now, this deserves a little bit of a story before I unveil what's underneath here. So, when I was 6 or 7 years old, very poor family. We didn't have a lot of money. Things were pretty tight and kind of bad actually, but that's for another story. But I remember a toy that captured my attention. Now, I'm in my mid 50s now, so you're talking 50 years later. I've been dying to get my hands on one of these. And so, somewhere in my 20s, I remembered this toy, right? I don't remember anything before fifth grade, not really. But I remembered this toy, and I asked my mom, I said, hey, what was this toy called? You know, who made it? Where did we get it? And she had no clue what I was talking about. But you have to understand, I couldn't have made this up, right? So that was before the internet, before you could find anything you wanted by typing on your phone. And so when the internet actually became a thing, I started looking for this to see if I was just crazy. I couldn't remember what it was. What's going on with that? So at some point, like every 5 years, I kept checking and checking and checking, and I couldn't find anything. Well, I didn't know what it was called. I vaguely knew what it did and how it worked, but that's it. Awesomely enough, finally, on some GeoCities lost toy website back in the early days, a little tiny black and white picture showing this device was on this site. It had no information other than the picture, which told the name of the device and who made it. Now, you would think having that bit of info would be a slam dunk. Find it, buy it, rebuy our childhood. That's what Gen X does. We get a little bit of disposable income when we rebuy our childhood. But no, knowing what it was called and knowing who made it did not give me any better access to get to this device. So another 5 years passed, and again, I would check the internet, couldn't find anything, check the internet, couldn't find anything. Finally, somebody had mentioned it on Reddit, I believe it was. Reddit was talking about this toy. And I'm like, holy crap, that's the toy I'm looking for. So I got involved and blah, 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 blah. And this whole bit. And again, you forget about buying one. Forget about even seeing a video of one of these things. So again, it's like, okay, at least I know what it is. I know I wasn't crazy. I know it exists, and I'll check in another 5 years. So 5 years later, I start looking again, and finally, somebody shows a video of it up on YouTube. I think it was, or maybe it was Vimeo. I don't remember, but somebody had a video of the item. And I was like, oh my God, that's it. I can see it in motion. It's exactly what I remember. Oh my God, oh my God. But of course, you still couldn't buy one. eBay didn't really have it. You couldn't find it. Nobody knew what the hell you were talking about if you wanted to buy one. And so you kind of gave up on it, right? It's like, okay, this is one childhood memory I'm not going to be able to repurchase. So I kind of gave up on it. It's like, okay, I am satiated with knowing what it is, that I'm not crazy, that it exists, and I remembered it correctly. So my son and I went thrifting. Yesterday I released a video of the live showing the CDs and the Blu-rays and stuff that I got. But we went to a brand new Goodwill, been open for 2 days. It was our grand opening weekend. Place is packed, tons of movies, tons of discs, blah, blah, blah. We went back to electronics, right? And we went back to the electronics. I'm going to tease you a little bit. We went back to the electronics, and my son went to the furniture, which is right next to the electronics. And I hollered over to him about something. And I looked across the table, and this was sitting on the table. What I'd been looking for 30 freaking plus years was sitting on a table at freaking Goodwill for $10. That's unbelievable. And it's in a box. It's not a very good box, but it's in a box, right? Part of this tore off. I think this is from the backside over there. Ages 5 and up. Well, that was about me at that point. 1974. Shaper Manufacturing Company. By the way, when I found it originally, they said it was Schaefer, not Chaper or Shaper Manufacturing. Might have also helped if I had had that. This toy was like the greatest thing ever in 1974. And I don't know how we had it. I don't know how we could afford it. Maybe I played it at a friend's house, but I remember this vividly. And now I own one for a pittance of a price after searching decade after decade after decade for this thing. I've opened it up and peeked inside, but I've done nothing else yet. I don't even know if it works. But let's do it together. I know for a fact it takes 2 D batteries. You know why I know? Because it's right on the box. So I've got some D batteries. So I am dying to see how well this thing works. Up there's the other side that got ripped. Okay, let's take a look at this thing. This is obviously not mint. Okay, so here it is. And this is the original box. I don't know how well this is coming out on camera. I'm going to turn it this way. So this was it, a real accelerator. And if you're a kid, being, you know, you're 6 years old, I can already tell it's busted. That's too bad. It looks like something I could probably fix. This is not high-tech equipment here. This accelerator has a spring, and you actually push down on the accelerator. You hear that noise? I remember the noise. That's batty. I remember it making that noise. And so this cable is hooked into this main unit. So this is your gas pedal. Now, you know what? Let me get this out first. So here's the spring. So one of the things that I wasn't sure was even going to have was a car. And this all works out. Let's see here. So here's the spring. Oh, great, it's tangled up. It's going to kick my butt. Watch this. Or you could just unsnap it, right? There we go. Oh, great. All right, well, I got it out. So here's the spring that goes with the accelerator. And thanks to my butterfingers here. Now, this was also something cool. Now, remember, 6-year-old boy. Can't get in there. 6-year-old boy, you get your own set of car keys, right? I mean, this is it. Little car key action. I'm just going to put this aside. I'll fix it later. And, of course, you have the car. And there is something special about the car, obviously. If it's going to drive around, you'll notice there's a little magnet on it. So you can already know that this is some sort of a magnetic device. I would never think that I would find one with the car. We have the car. We also have the little cones. Now, you could probably 3D print these or something like that, right? But these are original. These are not repros. These are OG, 1974. For those of you who are not keeping track, this is 50 years old. That scares the shit out of me. Oh, did I say that out loud? I'll probably have to bleep that. Okay, that's it. That's in there. Now, there is something missing unless it's somewhere rattling around in this box. Let's pull this out. A spider or something in here. Here's a sticker. We're going to look at that in a second. Oops. Just want to see if the other piece that's in here is missing. It's not in here. Okay. That's all right. So let's take a look at this thing. So the purpose of this, of course, was to pretend like you're driving, right? You had your own little key that you would plug in and turn it on. That's actually legit. It's actually a switch to turn it on and off. This does nothing. That's just there to make cool noise. I don't think there was a horn. Even if it did work, I don't think it worked now. And the idea is you had your little car. It would be here. And using the gas pedal would make the car drive around. Right? So you're supposed to start at start and work your way over to finish, right? So I always used to take the lane around and then here and then back around. And you had your little pit stop. So you would drive directly with this steering wheel and this gas pedal. That's pretty damn cool, right? Especially for 1974. But of course, what's the magic that makes it work? Now, I've been able to look at this compliments of recent YouTube videos and some breakdowns. But you had two sides, right? So if you wanted to do something a little more, suburban versus a racetrack, you have two different sides. And of course, it works on either side. And the track is different. So what's the magic? I mean, this is a piece of cardboard and it's in great shape. I mean, who would have thunk that? Who would have thought this would be in great shape? There's some goop here. I bet I can get it off without trashing it. I think that's pretty good. But here, of course, is the magic. Inside here, your steering wheel is attached. The steering wheel is attached with a simple chain, and that chain causes this magnet, let's see, this magnet here to turn back and forth. And of course, if there was something on top of it, like a car, the car would stick to it. So technically speaking, that's how you could make it go back and forth. As you held down the gas pedal, this motor would turn. I'm not going to turn it by hand too much, but you turn it by hand, it makes a bunch of noise. So in fact, between essentially an analog gas pedal, right, and essentially an analog wheel, you could really do cool stuff. I can tell this is going to have to be adjusted because I think this needs to be able to go back a little further. That's it. That's the whole mechanism of this thing. Here is the battery compartment, which is something I did not check before. It is clean. Whether or not it works or not, it's another story, right? So just for fun, let's see what happens if we put some batteries in here. I'm a little sketched putting this in here. Oh, and here was, by the way, the sticker, which goes here. There's some other stuff here that is missing, which is too bad, but this sticker is actually in remarkably good shape. I'll flatten it out, put some sort of non-destructive adhesive here, and I'll be able to stick it back into position. It doesn't really do anything other than kind of look cool. Let me get this thing's not wanting to tear open. Oh, there we go. All right, so let's get these batteries out and we'll see what happens. I'm not totally, this is a very simple mechanism. It almost can't not work, but is that a switch? No, that's just a clip. Okay, so the batteries are in. And the key, I'm losing boxes over here. Okay, so the key does turn it on. Now, of course, this isn't, there's nothing to work here. Got a cat that wants to visit. Photobomb. So, ooh, I see. Here's the gooey stuff that's in here. Gross. Okay, let's see. Okay. So what we're going to have to do is pull this thing apart. It looks like there's some tabs here that are going to need to be pulled off to get underneath and see what's going on with this pedal. Again, it's a very simple, like, resistance type thing. So, what I'll do is I'll trim this cable. Now we could probably do this at least for testing purposes. I'm going to go ahead and cut this cable. Let's cut it right here. All right. Wow. Some 50-year-old wire. See if I can do this without getting any wire cutters. Or cutting my fingers off. Should be enough of the wire exposed. There we go. Now let's see if just any sort of connectivity makes this thing work. It's not looking good. I don't think there's anything magical. Is this on? Sounds on. Okay, so let's take a look here. Maybe there's another piece that we're not missing. Okay, so it looks like we have some... Oh, well, this is busted too. Lord, what the hell's gone on here? Let's see. I don't know what the hell this thing went through, but just for giggles, let's see if there's any... I have no idea where this other cable goes. It's so terrible. I'll just probably have to replace this whole wire. But again, it's very simple. It's a motor, right? And the motor's probably fine, but, you know, obviously this wiring is leaving this terrible stuff on my hand. But look at this. Everything else, it's so simple, you know? Things were so much more simple and easy. See, this doesn't actually do anything. So this must close the circuit for the... to get the power, and then I wonder if this was here or here. No, it had to be over here. Maybe here? Just for giggles. I'm trying to make something happen here. I had no idea how this was going to work out. No. Nothing. Well, I'll have to get out a multimeter and do a bunch of tests, but outside of some basic wiring shenanigans, it looks like, and I'm pretty sure these batteries are good, it looks like we have a complete unit minus the bridge. Let me bring this box back out. There's the bridge. There was a little bridge here that you could drive through, so that was pretty cool. But the bridge is not here. My guess is that's probably the piece that everybody's missing. You also see a different vehicle here. And I remember there being a couple of different vehicles you could drive. So it's possible I've got one of them, or this was a mock-up that, didn't have that happen. But this is so cool. I mean, again, my son was like, what the hell's wrong with you? Why are you freaking out? Yeah, I've been on a quest for 50 years to get one of these things. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you can see that the stickers here are gone. I think there's something over here too that's probably missing. Let me see the other side. Yeah, it looks like there's some artwork here that's missing, and that's interesting too. Did you notice that that this is black versus white? I wonder if this had some sort of a covering or something on it. Hard to tell. Well, listen, I'm really excited. I mean, I know this seems goofy, but for those of you who are busy rebuying your childhood, you guys know what I'm talking about. Being able to get your hands on these things, these amazing things of your childhood, being able to finally put to rest a quest, right? It's pretty neat. Yeah, and I guess these things are available on eBay now, of course. They go for anywhere from like 20 to $100, I believe, is what I saw. So I paid $10. Needs a little bit of work, needs a little bit of love, but otherwise, pretty neat. It's funny how I remember that noise. It's so crazy. Well, we'll get it apart. We'll check it out. See what the hell's inside of that thing. Oh, it finally broke off. Yeah, probably just replace this whole wiring. It's kind of cool, though. It's still original wire, so. Well, what do you think? Leave a comment down below. I'm not looking at the chat. I'm sorry. The position here makes it very difficult for me to look at the chat. I'll repair the box the best I can. See, look at this. It's even the original inside of the box. You drive it. Catalog 801. Very cool. Minneapolis, Minnesota. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.